I have worked with enough PAs at this point, successful ones and not so successful ones. I have learned what the good PAs do from a habit standpoint that makes them good. And I don't just mean good in terms of like revenue. I mean good in terms of like happy, fulfilled with their job. So let's go over some of those habits. First of all, the good, successful PAs keep their calendar up to date. They all run a pretty tight operation. They live and die by their calendar. And I don't mean they have to write down everything like, oh, it's time to go to the bathroom. It's 10:10. That's what my calendar says. I mean, like when you make a time with a client to meet with them, you write it in your calendar right away. Like that's a habit. I was in the car with a PA the other day, and they had a call from a client. This person pulled over and immediately wrote it in their calendar. It was a habit that whenever you make an appointment, no matter where you are or what you're doing, you get it in your calendar. Of course, you don't want to drive while you're doing something like that, so it was an easy pullover. Just important to do. Make it important to do a habit, because it might seem obvious that you'll remember an appointment tonight or today at 2 p.m., which is just a few hours away. But you know what? The phone might ring nonstop, and when you get off that phone to make that appointment, and it might slip your mind. All right. So don't just go halfway with your calendar. Either you have one or you don't. Another thing is they know that consistency is the key. Successful PAs know that consistency is the key. So whatever recurring projects you have on your plate, make sure you do it consistently. I do not like to see social accounts of public adjusters where they went really heavy on social media for like 3 weeks. And, 2 years ago, they did like 10 postings a week for like 3 weeks, and then it just stopped. And then they still advertise the social network on their website. Like there's a Facebook icon where you can go see their postings from 2 years ago. It's like either you do it or you don't. So social postings is a good example of this. So make it a habit to do a social post once a day, once a week, whatever you feel comfortable with, to make sure that you're just making everything consistent. Okay. And it makes everything just feel and seem more organized in your head. You don't have to wonder like, hey, when's the last time I did a social post? You just know. It's like, it's in my calendar. Tuesday morning, do a social post. Thursday morning, do another social post. All right. Another habit of a successful PA is they work on their weakness and hone their strengths. And this is just for everybody. I mean, I'm a competitive tennis player, and I'm always on the lookout for how I lost matches, and I lose a lot. Okay. But I want to know what my weaknesses are. Is this something that is consistently weak all the time? Because in tennis or in sports in general, the goal is to take your strength and to hide your weakness. So your strength is supposed to beat your opponent's weakness. Same within business, really. I mean, don't think of like business as having like opponents, but really you want to bring your strength to the forefront and hide any weaknesses that you might have. So if you know that your weakness might be keeping appointments, staying on the same line as what we were just discussing, then perhaps you need to get yourself a professional scheduler, someone like a phone number that someone can answer their phone, and you tell all your clients and prospects, be sure to call this person whenever you want to schedule something with me, whatever the case. So just recognize your weakness and capitalize on your strengths, and outsource your weakness or learn how to make it happen. And where do you outsource? Well, you can go to Upwork.com. You can search for VAs. I like right now looking for virtual assistants, which is a VA. In the Philippines are pretty hot. They work for pretty cheap, and they speak perfect English. They're not in our time zone, unfortunately, from here in the U.S. But if you want to get a good virtual assistant, there's a number of U.S.-based companies that will provide you one for relatively cheap. And if it means making your business that much more efficient, it'll pay for itself. Now, they underpromise and overdeliver. And I've said this so many times in so many classes. So allow your work to speak for itself. The best PAs I've worked with are ones that really understand that the service they provide is paramount to everything else. You can try to be their friend. You can try to be the expert on everything and have the answers to everything. But really, everything you do is focused around their goal, whether it's to recover as much money as possible, whether it's to just make it a very stress-free environment for them to submit their claim. Whatever the case, that is what you're promising, and that is what you need to deliver. And then they get and post testimonials. The best PAs that I've worked with make it a business practice to always ask for testimonials. Even if it's not a perfect 5-star, a video testimonial that is good, that has some good parts, you can use parts of that, slice up the video any way you like it, provided you have a likeness release from them. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos about getting client feedback, watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. But you're going to want to be sure to get testimonials on a regular basis. I've seen PAs before that have websites from testimonials from 4 or 5 years ago. It's like, well, do your clients just not like you anymore, or are you just not providing testimonials? So you have to make it a consistent regular part of your business to get testimonials. And another habit of a successful PA is building rapport with your clients. Now, I had mentioned in a previous class that one of my PAs that I had contracted with was always trying to take me out to dinner. Great guy, but I was making sure not to blur the line between friend and professional that I want to work with, right? So you want to walk that line, and just remember, it's more than just business. It's more than just talking about what needs to be done. It's asking about their day, their week, their family, whatever the case, and generally care about their answers. But you want to build enough rapport with the clients, not too much, but enough to know that you're there for them and you generally care about them. All right. Now, 2 more points of a successful PA. Number 1 is they understand that automation is king. And there's a whole section in this course about just automation, like different tools that you can use to make your life easier. And the best PAs that I worked with know that it's imperative in order to scale to have processes in place and automation. There's a lot of different marketing automation right now is really, in the last 5 years, taken a great uptick. There's a lot of cool tools out there now. Something as simple as finding a folder on your computer can be automated with a couple buttons to having your entire email marketing being automated. I mean, there's a lot of cool programs out there. It just depends on how robust you want to get. But if you want to understand what can be automated, what I would do is I would take a notepad and just for an entire week, anything that you see yourself doing more than twice can probably be automated. So just write it down. Just say, you know what, I was looking for this folder on my computer 3 times a day for the last week. That's something that can be automated. You write that down. We're going to help you find a software program that can do that. You can just look online, like quick way to find folders on your computer, or some kind of software that helps you find folders in your computer. Something as simple as that. And I use ActiveCampaign, which is an automation platform that manages all the back end emails and segments of clients that I work with. There's robust and non-robust, but in any case, you want to automate as much as possible, especially if you start bringing on other public adjusters and working with them. And the last thing I noticed was that successful PAs understand that not every client is for them. That's very important. And it's really hard to do that. When I was a consultant, when I was a beginner consultant, even a middle-aged consultant, a middle experienced consultant, I was taking on anybody who would offer me money. I didn't really care I was just hungry for work and gaining experience. But really, the more I got experience with the consulting, I realized the more I work with clients that are not my ideal client, the less time I have for my ideal clients. Okay. So it's really hard to turn down clients that want to work with you, but you have to understand the clients you best serve value for and then work with them. I've heard public adjusters straight out say, no, I can't work with you, but this is a public adjuster I think that would be better fit for you. And here are my reasons why. So you want to really fold that into your business practices. And I get it. If you're a beginner public adjuster, it might not be in your cards to do that, but just know that every client you take on that you're getting kind of a not so good feeling about, that takes you away from your capacity to work on one that is an ideal client. Okay. So I hope this helps, and, develop these habits to be a successful PA. Good luck.